everyone, it's Morgyn from For the Love of Paper, and I am here with a layout process video for you. This month I am using my kit from d-lish scraps. It is the August kit, and I'm also doing the sketch and color challenge that is for this month as well. And I'm scrapping this photo, or these photos, of Sam when he was little. He was probably, maybe 18 months, maybe nearly 2, I don't know, somewhere around there. And he had been in his room for a while, he'd been quite quiet. And so I went upstairs to check on him, and he had pulled all the paints out of the cupboard. Like, he climbed up on things to get the paints down and made this beautiful paint masterpiece on the floor. And it was a mess. There was actually, when you look at the close-ups at the end, it just looks like a big puddle of paint, but there was actually a teeny tiny little square bit of paper underneath that, and he was covered. His hands were covered, his body was covered. But he was so proud of himself. He thought it was the best thing he's ever done in his life to that point. And all I could do was take a photo and then just laugh and clean it up. Because he was just so proud of himself, despite the mess. We had to get the carpets cleaned and everything after that. But anyway, that's what kids do. So that's the photos that I'm scrapping today. The kit had this a paint splat stencil in it, which I use on this layout, and that's what inspired me. I'm like, I wonder if I've got those photos, and I've got a whole box of photos that I want to scrapbook and will get around to one day, and these happen to be in there, so it just all worked out perfectly and got them scrapped. And I'm also using a couple of bits of scrap paper. Well, these might have been from a 6x6 paper pad. I can't remember if they were scraps or actually from a paper pad. But I'm using those to mount my photo on after I mounted it on some black, just to give it a border. Then I trimmed down that grey piece, and it's kind of got, looks like raindrops all down it, or paint splatters, as the case may be for this photo. So I thought that worked out quite well as well. And yeah, so I just mounted it on that little bit of grey. And then I think I used the yellow underneath that as well. I felt like it just needed a little bit of something else. Yeah, so I just do a teeny little yellow border just around the grey part as well. I should have done that before I stuck it all down, but I didn't, so never mind. Oh, there's my head. I don't think I'd brushed my hair. That was a mess. I just tied it up so I could go and craft, because little Roman doesn't give me much crafting time these days. He sleeps amazingly well at night. I can't get over how well he sleeps at night. But during the day, he doesn't particularly like to nap, or doesn't nap for very long. So as soon as I put him down, I go do the school drop off, and sometimes he falls asleep in the car, sometimes not. So I usually get home and put him straight to bed and get as much crafting done as I can in the 40 minutes to an hour that he naps, because then I know he's up for pretty much the rest of the day, which is annoying because I don't get much done, but it is nice to play with him and, do all the fun things with him. So, and I can't complain too much, because I do get a full night's sleep every night, which is something that I really, really do enjoy. I'm going to have to start staying up later. I'm not a night owl person. I don't scrap at night. I don't do much at night. I go to bed. I might have to start staying up so I can get some more scrapbooking done. Anyway, excuse me, back to the layout. I trimmed off 2 triangle pieces from an old Stampin' Up pattern paper. And I was going to use the orange side. As you can see, that's how I laid it out. And then when I flipped it over, I was like, oh my goodness, that green matches perfectly, and it's not such a stark change of color with the green and the orange. So I just went with the other green instead. And then I felt that it did need a little pop of something. So I trimmed off just a tiny, tiny little slither of the orange paper and just tucked it under the edge of the green there. So it's not a lot, but just a little bit, just a teeny tiny, it's probably only like, oh, sorry, my phone is going off. It's probably only about 1.5 millimeters wide, that little strip, but it's enough to give a bit of contrast to the layout. So I stick that side down, and then I go and do the exact same thing on the other side of the page. And the reason I did that was that that's what the sketch was, but it was actually up the other way. Like the fat bit was at the top on the right, and then the fat bit was on the bottom at the left, but never mind. It's my creative liberty I have taken with this particular sketch. So now I'm just making a little tab to put at the top of the page. The top of the photo. So just to tuck that in there, and then I also mount that on the same yellow that I put behind the grey paper before. I never put a hole in that. I just was thinking I was meant to go put a hole in that and put some twine through it, but I completely forgot. I might do that before I take photos of the layout. I had planned on doing it, but just never got around to it. So now I think I start working on my first embellishment cluster, possibly. And this kit had some really fun embellishments. I think I used a few of the cogs on this one, and that was in the kit. It's like canvas type material, and I just like the contrast of the color, and the colors in this kit and the colors that I've used match so well with the colors in the photo, and I did it completely unintentionally. When I pulled the green out, I pulled it out because it matched with the kit, and then when I went back and was looking at the photos, I'm like, oh my goodness, he's wearing lime green, and there's a blue in the background and orange in the background. It worked out really well. So the die cut, the little fence, the white bit, it looks like the brickwork, use that underneath, and then a couple of the cogs I paint up. I didn't know which size I should go with, so I coloured in the large one and the small one in orange. And this first one, when I did it, it didn't really come out that well. I put too much water on it. So yeah, it didn't work quite as well as I had hoped it would. So when I do that other little cog, I just rub it in with my finger. I don't really add any water to it, and it came out a whole lot nicer. So if you've got any chipboard or anything you want to colour with the gelatos, don't use much water, if any at all. If you can get away with not using any, do that. Because see, I rubbed it on and then just added a teeny little bit of water over the top and then just smudged it in with my fingers, and it came out so much nicer. The colour was more vibrant, and it sort of stuck to the chipboard a little bit better too. And then I had ink all over my hands. My hands were orange. And so I ended up using the small one because I liked how it came out better. And then one of the green buttons from the kit. Oh no, that's right. I remember what I did. Then I decided I wanted green. So I went, and I didn't have a lime green gelato. So I put on that lemony yellow color with a bit of the dark blue, and it made a really nice lime green. And see, I didn't even add any water to that one at all, and it came out really nicely. It's definitely a bit of trial and error with these different things. So I used that one over there with the green, the orange star button. And then I was going to colour in this, and I just did this little test patch first to see how I liked it, but I really didn't like the orange on it. So I just flipped it over and left it white. Yeah, you can't really see it on the pattern paper, but or on top of the pattern paper, but I liked it there anyway, and just a little bit of something else on the layout. And then I get my stencil out along with some texture paste and a little bit of grey paint. I've been using these paints a lot lately. I got these from, I can't remember, from Kitaholics Kits. I ordered them from there, and I think I only got 3 or 4 colours, but I really want some more because they're such a great paint to work with, and they do mix in quite well with the texture paste as well and hold their colour, because I know sometimes I've mixed paint with the texture paste and it just doesn't hold its colour, but these seem to do that quite well. So I mix that up and get messy again. Who doesn't love getting messy with their crafty layouts? Love it. I always feel like I've achieved something if I've got messy hands at the end of it. And then I go and do school pickup and people always are like, oh, what have you been doing? You painting your house? I'm like, no, just making scrapbook layouts. And they look at me like, oh, I thought that was just, paper and photos being stuck down. So it's nice that people, opening the world to other scrapbooking techniques. Not that any of them are really scrapbookers, but, well, I don't think they are anyway. None of them have ever said they are. And then I just add another little splatter down in that bottom corner, which is where I'm going to put my title. And so I put that aside to dry, and now I go to make the embellishment cluster for that bottom left-hand corner. I use a tag, the orange cog, and the green button. I really wanted to use that flare badge. I really, really wanted to get that on the layout, but it was just too big to fit anywhere. And then these little chevrons, I couldn't decide if I wanted to use the open ones or the full ones or a mixture of both. In the end, I went with the 3 open ones. And then I glue it all down, and then I get some alphas out and start writing spelling out my title onto that little tiny tag piece. And I'm also using some of the puffy alphas that I had bought from d-lish Scraps in their store. I really need some more of these black ones because I've used them. I've got 2 sheets and I've used them up quite a bit. I think I might have had 3 sheets. I've still got a blue one and a white one, maybe blue and a pink one. I can't remember, that I haven't used. But the black, I tend to use black a lot with my titles and stuff because it goes with everything. So I got that part out, and then I got out some other little tiny alphas, and I did look what I made. I'm still fluffing around with this. I'm just reminiscing about his little face and how happy he was when he showed me that. I'm sure my other child is going to do something similar at some point, no doubt. So yeah, these alphas were just from Spotlight. I can't remember what brand they are, and I just spell out. They're kind of a vinyl type of sticker. Look what I made, and then the word made runs off onto the background page. So I don't put all of that there yet. And what else? Oh, gluing all of these things down. So while everything was dry, or while the paint was drying, I did all the other little bits and pieces and stuck everything else down. And then I left it to dry. I went away and did whatever, had lunch or something, and came back and finished the layout off once it was all dry. Oh, and this green washi tape came in the kit. If you watch my unboxing video, I missed this out. I put it to the side of my table and then completely forgot to talk about it. But I got all my other washies out because I didn't know if I had one similar to this in my stash, because I wouldn't have opened a new roll if I had one. But I didn't, so I opened it up. I really like it, and I didn't even put it on the layout. I only used it underneath everything, which is a bit silly. I had left it on the side of my desk so I could remember to put it somewhere, but I never actually did. And then I was peeling off all the little bits of tape because I realized that I wanted to put it all up on some foam. So yeah, I pulled the tape off that I'd had on the sides to stick down and use this foam. And I just chop it up into these tiny little pieces and yeah, stick them all over the layout. Then peeled them off and stuck it down. And I do stick it down a little bit crooked and it kind of annoys me, but never mind, I have to live with it now. And as you can see, I've also added another little grey paint splatter down in that bottom left-hand corner as well. I did that off camera. While it was drying, I decided I needed a bit more of the paint splatter down there, so I did add in another one. And come back to stick it all down and finish the word off. And I don't think there's much else that I do on this layout. No. Oh, gluing down the wood veneer, and then I think I just write my journaling. And I basically just journal what I talked about at the beginning of the video, what he'd done and what he'd created. I wish I could remember what he told me he'd painted. I'm sure he had told me something, but I can't remember. It was just a big splodge of different colored paints in my mind. So I probably blanked that part out as to what he actually said it was. And just this little orange tag from my stash, and I just mark on there where I can write up to because I wasn't putting the whole label on there, and I did that off camera so you didn't have to see me doing all my little scribble. And that's this layout done, guys. Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe to check out my next videos. Bye.